Guys, I'm here to talk about some fantasy football. It's been a while since I made a video, so I decided this would probably be a good time. I've done about 10 or 12 drafts by now. Most of them mock drafts. I didn't do that many real drafts. But within my time of practicing on the drafts, I really realized what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips, talk about some of the players I like. And alright, here we go. So first of all, what you should do is in the first round, if you look at the rankings, you can see the first 10 players, 9 of them are running backs. There's a reason for that, and you should definitely take a running back in the first round, because if you don't take a running back in the first round, then you're going to be struggling to get a running back in the later rounds, especially in the 2 running back league. Now, if your league is PPR, then it's not the end of the world, but I still recommend taking at least one of the top 10 elite running backs. Like in my draft last night, I had the 8th pick, which to me was probably one of the best options I could have gotten in my draft. So with the 8th pick, I took LeSean McCoy, who's definitely going to be a sleeper. He's definitely going to be a top 5 running back now. This is with Chip Kelly. He gets a lot of receptions, a lot of touchdowns. And then I took AJ Green the 2nd round because our league is PPR, so that's not the end of the world, even though the running backs do get scarce towards the end. So, I mean, if you're trying to think between Calvin Johnson or taking in a running back, it's tough, but if you're not in a PPR, definitely go with the running back in the first round. And the next tip, especially from I learned last night, do not take a quarterback in the first round, because if you take a quarterback in the first round, you're an idiot. There is tons of quarterbacks. In our draft, there's even decent starters that went undrafted. I mean, they're not great guys, but they're doable. See, you got Carson Palmer, who never even got drafted. Flacco doesn't go to like the 9th round in most drafts. And Roethlisberger goes like in the 8th or 9th round. They're all solid quarterbacks. Unless you absolutely want one of the elite quarterbacks, I would not go for a quarterback in the first 4 rounds. I'd say 5th round at the earliest. In 5th round you can get, I got Matt Ryan last night in the 5th round. That was pretty awesome. And you got Kaepernick, you got Russell Wilson, he's around there, 4th, maybe 5th round. If you really want one of those guys, Matt Ryan, Kaepernick, and they're going pretty quick, you could take one in the 4th, but I recommend no earlier than that. So, alright, so what you should do basically after you go running back in the first round, 2nd round, if you had a late first round pick, then you have back-to-back, close back-to-back picks for the next round. I would go running back. Unless you're in a PPR league, then you definitely want to go running back, wide receiver, because if you had, say, like I had the 8th pick, so I picked 8, and then I picked 2nd in the next round, or 3rd. But that was good because then I went LeSean, my running back, and then AJ Green, my dominant wide receiver. But if you're not going to get Calvin, AJ Green, Dez Bryant, or Brandon Marshall within the first 2 rounds, don't take them, because like another receiver, go for a running back like Chris Johnson, or even Stephen Ridley, or Steven Jackson, or Matt Forte. Those are all, top 10 guys right there. And then after that, the running backs really drop down. I mean, maybe in the 3rd round you might get Reggie Bush or Darren Sproles, but other than that, you're going to be shit out of luck if you don't get your running backs early. So, with that said, another tip I got for you guys is with the tight ends. You see, you got your elite tight ends, and then you got your average tight ends, and that's it. So, if you're not going to get an elite tight end like Jimmy Graham, you got Tony Gonzalez, Jason Witten, and then you have Gronkowski, who he is injured, but he would be worth it. If you can get Gronkowski in the 4th, 5th round, just take him, because he'll be back and he'll be dominant. Because look at all the receivers the Patriots are losing. They lost Wes Welker, Aaron Hernandez won't be playing football for a while. So you got a lot of potential there. High risk, high reward with Gronkowski. But if you're not going to get an elite tight end, don't take a tight end until, I'd say, like 7th round or so. You can still get average guys that are gonna get about the same amount of points. There's no point of taking a tight end in the 5th round if you're gonna get someone like Dennis Pitta, when you can get him, or who else do we have, like Greg Olsen in like the 7th or 8th round, or even Owen Daniels, because you can get better guys, better flex guys, better backup players, and still get your tight end. And the other thing I'd like to say is, do not draft more than one quarterback, because even though a lot of people like to have backup, unless you draft RG3 or Michael Vick or somebody who might get injured, do not take more than one quarterback, especially because in this year the quarterbacks are really deep with all the the emergence of the rookies last year, and it's just not worth it. You can just pick him, and Carson Palmer, he's gonna be alright, he'll be an alright backup, and if your guy gets hurt, make a trade, instead of, you can get a better running back or wide receiver instead of picking up another quarterback. So, alright, well, that's about it. I thought I'd just get on, give you a little brief overview of this. I got my little cheat sheet here. I also recommend you printing out the top 200 rankings and then kind of just going over it like a study guide. I know it sounds kind of nerdy, but it really helps. And when you get the draft, you're not sitting there the whole 90 seconds trying to figure out what guy you want. So, alright guys, take it easy.